JB&B Mobile Auto Repair Service. 2016 Dodge Journey. Radiator remove and replace. We're going to start off with removing these clamps. Well, these clips, lock tabs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then once we get those removed, we'll come over here, remove these tabs here. We'll get up in here, and up in here is a 8mm bolt. We'll disconnect that 8mm bolt right here. Then we'll go on the other side over here and disconnect the 8mm bolt right here. You don't have to remove the tabs, I see. So some are missing on this car, but you don't have to remove them because you got this access plate. You just take your socket and 8mm, push it right up in there on that, just like that. Alright, and then what you're gonna need to do, I believe that access is on both sides. Yes, it is. It's over here too. Then you need to come around to the front, go up under here, remove this tab, this tab, this tab, this tab, this tab, and this tab. Once you remove those tabs and those bolts, you should be able to remove the bumper. Alright, so for my techs, if you have a nice gully like this here with no openings on the entire span of it, this is a great place to put your bolts or your tabs. You can put your bottom bolts up here too, or bottom tabs, or you can put them up under the vehicle right in front of the tire, out of the way of being kicked or blown away. Bolts don't blow away, but if you always put them in front of your tire, if the vehicle doesn't have to be jacked up, and put your tabs and bolts up here, then you'll always know where your stuff is. I like to separate, so I know that this all goes to the upper portion of the bumper. And just for reference, how you remove these tabs, if you got WD-40 or something like that, you can spray them down and spray in them. This will loosen them up, make them way easier to take out. If not, I have some little snips. They're like little snips, but I don't have them out here at the minute. But you can also use a flathead screwdriver with a fairly wide base by popping it right here and giving it a twist back and forth, rocking the screwdriver, rocking your hand like this. And that'll allow that tab to come up, and then you can just grab it and pop it out. So future techs, this is the dilemma. We got this one here, and due to the undercover conditions, that sucker don't want to release like we showed you earlier. Like I said, your best friend in a situation like this is WD-40, but you see how I'm twisting and it's not popping out. It's just fighting. It's coming. Oh, well, there it goes. It came, but in a case like that, you need something like these. You don't want to cut it. You want to just grab it good enough to wiggle it side to side until it pops down. Ooh, see how stuck it is? But the idea with grabbing it with these are not to cut it, but to give you the leverage. You can turn them backwards once it comes down so far. Kind of give it a twist side to side until it pops out. Okay, just as an update over here on the corner, you got this outside trim fastener right there. And then down here further in the back where you see my finger popping up and down, you got another fastener back here up under this trim right there. Yeah, I left that out in the initial part of the video, so now you know. So guys, just to update, this was 7mm, not 8. And you do have to take this down, the dust cover, so take those pins out. And like I was saying, put your pins right there. Tuck them right up under the tire. Nobody kicks them. Hopefully a squirrel don't run off with your bolts. And when you go to take this out, make sure you kind of tug down on this from behind to release these fasteners, so they pop out and they don't break. Alrighty, I'll see you when we progress. We're getting her done. Alright, and once you get all that loose, then you can come up here, grab it, lift up, and pull forward. Be careful to watch out for this sensor. Not letting it go, so we'll do this. We'll go ahead and pull it out from the Christmas fastener. My bad, guys, I had you doing extra work. Anyway, grab your whole bumper, be sure not to drag it, and move it over to a soft grassy area. Now you have access to your radiator and the hot mess you got to go through to get to this radiator. So my point of attack from here would be remove this bolt, get this out of the way. Remove this bolt, get this out of the way. You can spend time trying to figure out how to maneuver these things or just get them out of your way. If you're gonna move them though, make sure, especially this one, you mark it. Take your marker and run right there around the outline and right here around the outline, so when you put it back, your hood latch works properly. Get this out of your way, just disconnect here. You'll push in on your clip, push in, squeeze down, and pull out. That disconnects your horn. Remember you did that. And then just disconnect from here, and this whole thing will move. So we got this bolt here on the oil or transmission cooler. Not sure which one. You just can take that bolt out, take this bolt out. Then you have some clips right here. So what you do with these clips is you press these tabs in. It'll release the air conditioning condenser. Press it in here. It'll release the air conditioning condenser. These tabs squeeze in from the top and the bottom, like so. And you got one down there on the bottom. So when you squeeze that, you can pull that there out. Then you slide up from down here. You got some slide connections where your condenser just slides into the radiator. Here and right here. Hope you can see that. Alright, we'll go ahead and get that stuff out of the way. Alright, so that oil cooler bolt actually had 3 bolts. It's got a hidden bolt down here. So make sure you get that one too. 1, 2, and 3. Alright, we don't need to really disconnect this. This is just to give you a little bit of room to maneuver. So you can actually wiggle this out. So might as well go ahead and do these clamps. So the object should be to squeeze and pull forward, which this ain't working so great. You probably have to use a screwdriver. So we will grab right there. So as you can see, that popped out of there. Just a tab that grabs it right there. Same thing over here. Press down, pull forward, This is hard to do it one hand. Yeah, but you get the point. Press down here, pull forward, get up in there. I lost my bit. Anyway, get up in there, pull both tabs up on the bottom too, right there, and that whole thing will pull forward. All right, stand by. Okay, so I get the vehicle with all the surprises. So you can't just disconnect here. You know you got lines, but you would think they would give you some slack, and you would think you see slack here, but really there's a bolt right here on the side. Pull that out there, and that's gonna hold to the radiator. Stupid design. Anyway, you separate your bolts. You put it over here on the far side where nothing else is. That way you know where your bolt is. All right, now we got that loose. Now, oh, there we go. You see how we got our little clearance now? Okay, boy, shabuki. Anyway, yeah, I'll be right back. Alrighty, another keynote when you're over here on this side, when you're pulling up and out to get access to your radiator, lift up on this so you can get it over that hump down there. Lift up and pull back. Okay, now that we got the clamps removed and got it pulled back, in order to pull this back too, they got some little connectors that go through here. Right here where the AC cooler lines go through, is a little clip that goes through here. I'll show it to you when I pull it out. Better yet, I can show you on this one. And there's one over here too, hidden, that we're not going to be able to see with the camera, but you can see that clip right there, the back side, how it goes through that hole. You got to get your hand down in there and squeeze those tabs together. And a better illustration of this is right here. So you gotta squeeze that in on each other so they can come out. All right, and then come over here. You're gonna grab this, and on this upper side, you're gonna disconnect it. It's gonna have a rivet here, one of the plastic rivets. Gonna remove that. You're gonna unwrap your cord. Your cord goes through here into this slot, but you're gonna unwrap that for now, and then you're gonna take the little rivet out. It went through there. You're gonna give it a tug, come up here and give it a tug, or squeeze the inside of the panel. Just squeeze this tab. This is the rivet we're talking about. Just go ahead and move that up and out of your way, remembering how it went in there. You can notice because this side went to the bottom. All right, you need to get in there because you need to get to your radiator hose, which is right here. I already removed it. You squeeze the tightening clamp together and you push backwards. This will free up your radiator. All right, let you know when we got it out. So you need to maneuver your radiator past the condenser coil. So what you want to do is grab from the bottom down here, grab this, pull towards you so you can get clearance right here, and just get enough clearance to slide this up and out. It's completely disconnected once you disconnect here and disconnect that hose down there. I'll see you when I got it out. And this is our radiator. The reason for replacement: the upper hose is crumbling. It's just old. All ABS plastic begins to fall apart and crumble just like this over time. That's why you got to do your preventative maintenance, guys. All right, and when you're pulling up, take notice of this stupid sharp piece right here, because it's going to grab you and hang you up multiple times. But like I say, if you reach under here and you grab the radiator and you kind of pull it with your hand and maneuver it across these tabs and things, you should be good. It's not that hard to take out. Alrighty, now you just reverse everything you just did. remembering where all your bolts go, remembering where these go. I know this goes right there. We got our 3 bolts for our oil cooler. We got our 1 bolt right here on the side that locked it to the radiator right here. And then we got all our trim tabs for the bottom, which is right here. Our 1 screw for this right here, this piece right here. The rest of that's trim tabs. And you automatically should know where all your trim tabs go. You took it apart, for Christ's sake. So you got this up here, which is my trim tabs for the top. These right here, which is my hood latch bolts. You got this one right here, which is my horn bolt. You got the horn assembly right there. And you got these 3 bolts over here that goes to that cooler. Yeah, see, this is why it was necessary to move the horn and the hood latch, because you got to squeeze it up out of here. So limited room unless you want to take everything apart. And also be careful when you're working around the AC condenser not to scratch up the fins, or not to scratch up the new radiator as it's going in. Be generally careful. Alright guys, so when you're sliding it back in, make sure you avoid scratching the surface of the radiator. Your surface should look just like mine, especially if you're one of my technicians. And I shouldn't have to explain reverse over removal, but I'll walk you through it just in case. And also the do-it-yourselfer. Alrighty. So key note, these tabs here, they don't have any rubber stopper. They just slide into the plastic housing. So when you're going down, make sure you line up to guide with those that female side to line your radiator up. And another thing down here, you have access to your bottom hose, which you want to stick your hand down in there and work both sides to make sure you get your hose lined up down there and get it back on. And you come down here and you manipulate your tightening clamp like we did to get it off, and bring that back forward and make sure this hose is pulled all the way up. It should be seated right here on this that little line right there on the left side. It should go all the way up there. If it's not all the way up there, you ain't doing it right. It should go until it can't go no more. Alrighty, I'll get back with you on the next step to put it back together. This is our radiator snapping back into place. Be sure to give it a nice tug and a nice pull to make sure those clips fastened. See how that popped back out? You push it in and give it a nice tug to make sure those clips fastened. Alright, so now you got to manipulate your AC condenser. Remember, you got those tabs down there at the bottom. When you manipulate this, you got to line it up. You got to line up your AC condenser. And place it in those tabs. And get everything back in, and boop, and boop. Line both tabs up. Click. That's supposed to click. I might have to push on that with the, let's see. We're supposed to click in, but we're not clicking in. So make sure you click down, which is easier said than done. so I'll get back with you. I don't want to click in. Usually the manufacturer did something wrong when they made the radiator. Probably an aftermarket, but we'll figure it out. I'll let you know what to do. So I know this is bootleg, but I can't help it. It's the aftermarket part. Don't want to lock into the little tab right there. So I made a metal bracket that I bent behind this plastic lip and then wrapped it to pull it tight, keeping everything tight. You need it to be tight because you got this oil cooler or transmission cooler. Yeah, so you don't want that flapping around, so you gotta do something. The customer's not gonna want to take it back because of the price of the radiator. It was cheap, so we're gonna go ahead with that. Alrighty, getting her back together. So going back with these bolts. Alrighty, I already screwed my bolts in a couple turns, and I'm looking at my alignment marks. You can see where it was. If you didn't mark it like me, it must be aligned on both sides. Alright, hope y'all seen that. Back on there. And then we're going to take and plug our connector back up here. And don't forget we got this here. Gotta maneuver this back in there. Remember, this side goes to the bottom. Because of this guy right here, you gotta get the cord through there. So you turn this way, slide down through here, come along the side, line your snap up right there, see it? Clip that in, line everything back up, make sure it locks in place. Remember, you got two clips. You got one that was right here, and we got one down here. Time right here. So let's get those two clips and we'll get them installed. Then don't forget to put your sensor back. Your sensor wiring goes through here. And this is one of those clips on the wiring itself. So you'll go right here. See how it comes through right there? It's a Christmas tree, so you'll give it a wiggle to its end. And you need your one Christmas tree that goes right here. Right there. So let's get that Christmas tree. All right. All right. Now we got that in. Now everything's lined up. Make sure all this is straight. Yep. All right, got our wiring going the right way, so now it's time to put the bumper back on. Give me a second, we'll do the inner hose too. So I gotta find the right socket because that's not a normal socket, but we'll get it. We'll be right back. Alright, so we got everything back together, and so this one doesn't have the bleeder valve, but usually you'll have a bleeder valve back here over this thermostat housing, or heater bypass as they would call it, but this doesn't. So you have to turn the heater on, fill it up, turn the heater on full blast, and watch your temp gauge and feel for heat. If you feel good heat coming out the vents and your temp gauge is good, then you're successfully bleeded. However, if it runs hot, you need to let it cool down and then try to bleed it again after it cooled down, and fill it up with coolant before you let it cool. Well, when it cools all the way down before you start again, make sure it's full of coolant. This is so we can get all the air out the system, because you don't want air in there. Your water pump grabs it, swishes it around, turns it into tiny little bubbles, and it makes you run hot. We don't want that. So in this case, you'll just turn the heater on full, as illustrated right here. Turn your fan on high, as illustrated. And then you're going to wait for the car to heat up. It should take about 30 minutes at most. You'll tell if it's going to overheat because it'll go up in temperature, which this one seems to be bled out just fine. So I'll give an instruction to the customer to add some more coolant tomorrow. Even if they drive it today, after it sits overnight in the early morning, just add a little coolant to it to make sure it's all the way full. And that's how you change the radiator in a 2016 Dodge Journey.